Sri Lanka to support action against global terrorism, a statement by the President. News1st remains inoperative. Island-wide power cuts to be enforced. Director General of the Bribery Commission hands over letter of resignation to the President. Bail granted to Thirukumar Nadeshan, who was arrested in connection to a contentious plot of land in Malwana.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandhu Ferdinando.
And I'm Jitendra Gunisena. Let's now start off with a look at the local stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena said in India yesterday that Sri Lanka would extend its fullest support to any action taken to combat global terrorism.
The leaders of BRICS, a grouping of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, met with BIMSTEC, the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, leaders in Goa yesterday. State leaders from BIMSTEC, comprising Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal and Bangladesh, participated in the meeting where President Sirisena, making a special address, noted the importance of such summits for increasing the economic growth capacity of BIMSTEC nations.
The Bay of Bengal, where the members of BRICS and BIMSTEC have important stake providence, the springboard for strategic cooperation in the Indian Ocean through the advancement of cooperative security. Peace and stability in the region is an essential element for economic prosperity. Following the election of the National Unity Government, we stand as a resilient nation and reach out in friendship and cooperation to realize our full economic potential, which many years of conflict deny us. On the economic front, we are in the process of building a knowledge-based, competitive social market economy that will be integrated with the world. Sri Lanka are prepared to collectively assess the challenges and opportunities that the shifting center of political gravity in Asia entails, while identifying and advancing our own priorities.
Yesterday, President Sirisena held a bilateral meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The Chinese president had said that there had been positive growth in relations between China and Sri Lanka. He pointed out that steps will be taken to further strengthen the long-standing traditional friendship between the two countries. President Xi added that China is prepared for deeper cooperation in sectors including trade, ports operations and infrastructure development in Sri Lanka. President Sirisena had noted that the strong friendship between China and Sri Lanka is even stronger today. The President's media division noted that President Sirisena also held bilateral talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. At this meeting, President Putin had expressed his hope that President Maithripala Sirisena would undertake a visit to Russia next year.
Welcome back to the news. In our top story, as a result of the breakdown at the News1st power plant, it has been decided to impose daily power cuts of 1.5 hours from today.
The Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy announced that the power cuts will be imposed, dividing the island into 8 zones. Power will be cut for 1 hour in the daytime and half an hour at night at different times in the 8 zones. The ministry added that power supply interruptions would not impact the Colombo city limits, hospitals and industrial zones.
I do business with great effort. These are all perishable goods and must be stored in a refrigerator. They are cutting power when the people need it the most. Ordinary people do not have generators.
We do not receive a daily benefit from this. It breaks down all the time. What is the meaning of this? Every day it breaks down and they fix it. Our money has been spent on it.
The previous government did not have a solution, and neither does this government. May the gods bless us.
While the first generator at the News1st plant broke down due to a fault in the transmission routes at about 10:46 a.m. on Saturday, at present all 3 generators are inoperational.
A committee has been appointed to furnish a report on the incident within a fortnight. The CEB has informed us that the second generator can be restored by Thursday. They have informed us that the first generator where the pipe burst can be operational by Sunday. We believe it to be so. According to the information we have received so far, it will take at least a month for the third generator to come online.
The Norotchole Lakvijaya power plant, the country's first coal-fired power plant, was initiated on the 11th of May 2006 and the first phase came into effect on the 22nd of March 2011, adding 300 megawatts to the national grid. By the 16th of September 2014, all three phases had been completed and added 900 megawatts to the national grid. The power plant was constructed by a Chinese state-owned company at a cost of $1,350 million. Breakdowns have been reported at the power plant intermittently since then, with the most recent incident occurring on the 13th of March this year.
I believe that either the professionals, the engineers should take the responsibility, because if they have not properly attended to it, then they should take the responsibility. If they have properly attended, then there should be a conspiracy behind this, because such a thing should not have happened during this period. A power failure can happen anywhere at any time, but that should not lead to island-wide power cuts, power plant failures. So if such things happen, then we have no idea when we can commission the power plant again and supply power to the grid.
When there is a problem in the transmission network, should be able to safely shut down. But as we have seen many times, the Norotchole power plant is unable to shut down safely in an emergency. It shuts down, but with some damages to some important pieces of equipment. Therefore, this design problem of Norotchole power plant has to be corrected.
A mechanical engineer was appointed to look after the machinery. The electrical engineers acted to have him removed. Then it was taken over by the electrical engineers who lacked the knowledge for this task. As a result, proper maintenance is not taking place to ensure the operation of the power plant. There is no planning and there is no management. We faced a similar situation in March 2016. Even then, the need for proper management was discussed. The upcoming drought season, problems with breakdowns, all of these were spoken about. It is the consumer that is affected by the power cuts. We pay a price every month as good consumers for the electricity we receive. We are hoping to investigate on how and due to what reasons this happened. We will also look into the standards of transmission and distribution of power. The Commission will be able to work on this and make sure the tasks are carried out based on the set standard.
Come back, let's start off with a look at more headline-making news. Thirukumar Nadesan, the husband of former parliamentarian Nirupama Rajapaksa, was arrested and released on bail today in connection to the controversial property in Malvana, which Basil Rajapaksa earlier denied ownership of.
Thirukumar Nadesan, who allegedly purchased the property in Malvana, which former Minister Basil Rajapaksa denied ownership of, was arrested by the police FCID this morning. Nadesan appeared before the FCID in order to provide a statement on the contentious land. After being arrested, Nadesan was produced before the Puguda magistrate, where he revealed court that he had purchased the 16-acre plot of land in question on the 25th of February 2010 and had later transferred the deed to Muditha Jayakodi. Thirukumar Nadesan was released on a cash bail of 50,000 rupees and two sureties of 1 million rupees each. However, as Basil Rajapaksa as well as Muditha Jayakodi had denied ownership of the land, the Puguda magistrate on an earlier occasion ordered that the land be put up for auction.
An individual by the name of Muditha Jayakodi had earlier provided a statement. It was based on this statement that my client was arrested and produced before court. There are records in the Inland Revenue Department that state that this land belongs to him, and he had made this baseless statement in order to put my client into unwarranted trouble. Court granted bail to my client today.
Meanwhile, the case filed against Yoshitha Rajapaksa and his grandmother Desi Forrest in connection to the purchase of a plot of land in Mount Lavinia for a sum of 521 million rupees was taken up for consideration today. The first respondent in the case, Desi Forrest, failed to appear before the Mount Lavinia Magistrate Court today due to health concerns. The FCID informed court today that they have not yet received the report on the survey of the land in question, which was carried out on the 28th of last month. The FCID also requested court to grant permission to access the bank records of Daisy Forest. The Mount Lavinia magistrate granted permission to obtain the bank records and also called on the FCID to ensure that they submit the report of the survey to court on the 23rd of January.
The Director General of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, President's Counsel Dilrukshi Dias Wickramasinghe, has decided to resign from her position.
An official at the Commission noted that the Director General had submitted her letter of resignation to President Maithripala Sirisena. Our attempts to contact Dilrukshi Dias Wickramasinghe to inquire into her decision were not successful. Dilrukshi Dias Wickramasinghe, who assumed duties as the Director General of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption on the 12th of February 2015, previously served as Additional Solicitor General in the Attorney General's Department.
In more local news, a media briefing was convened by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party this afternoon.
The main reason for the President to make such a statement was involvement of officials and incidents relating to his portfolio. The mistake Fauzi made was that he took the vehicle belonging to his ministry to another ministry. People of the country are prone to be more sensitive when 3 former Navy commanders are made to stand trial. The Director General of Divinaguma, Ranawaka, has been imprisoned because he was allegedly involved in granting permission to allocate money for a tourism campaign for the Tourism Board in the capacity of Director. Some can appear like they are hiding, but they are actually in the open. When former Minister Basil says that the land does not belong to him, they should know to get to the root of it, right? However, the powerful personalities are scot-free. What we see is that large cases are being neglected and a great deal of scrutiny is being placed on minor cases. He rightly brought that out. There has been no clash between the President or the Prime Minister relating to this.
The
results of the statement made by the President can be seen today. Statements have been recorded from the people who were close to the Prime Minister and who were faithful to Mahinda Rajapaksa about the Malvana residents. If they are committing a foul, then the yellow card will be shown. After the second yellow card is shown, then comes out the red card.
Director General of the Bribery Commission has tendered her letter of resignation to the President. What is the end result going to be?
The President did not name anyone. Neither did he point the finger at anyone. If the hat fits, then wear it.
The alleged central bank bond scam is a complex and at times confusing issue for the general public. As such, it is important to understand the timeline of the events concerned. Tonight, we take a look at the first in a series of segments outlining the events thus far.
In the first quarter of 2015, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka informed the licensed primary dealers that the CBSL intends to raise 1 billion rupees through a bond issue. On the 6th of March 2015, the Ministry of Policy Planning and Economic Affairs issued a statement noting that at a meeting held on the 26th of February, it was noted that emergency funding of 15 billion rupees was needed to recommence several expressway projects. The statement also noted that the Finance Minister, Minister of Highways, Investment Promotion and Higher Education, the Treasury Secretary and the Governor of the Central Bank were present at this meeting. Civil society and experts continued to raise questions regarding the participation of UMP Chairman Malik Samaravikrama at the meeting held on the 26th of February 2015. Speaking to Newsfirst, Samaravikrama confirmed that he had attended the meeting, adding that he had done so in his capacity as a senior advisor to the Prime Minister. While Malik Samaravikrama's participation at the meeting was continuously questioned, the subsequent bond issue also posed many questions. This was because the central bank, which had indicated its intention to raise 1 billion rupees, went on to accept bids up to 10 billion rupees. While this was not communicated beforehand to the primary dealers, allegations were raised that this information had been received by the company belonging to the central bank governor's son-in-law. The media, civil society, experts and intellectuals continuously maintained that leaking such information to a relative and allowing them the opportunity to take advantage of such a situation is a serious mistake. What happened next? More details tomorrow.
The urgent need to take action regarding the alleged bond scam was highlighted in the political arena today as well.
The company of the former central bank governor's son-in-law has recorded an unusually large profit. Before he took over that position, that is in 2014, the company recorded a profit of 900 million rupees. But after he became the governor, last year alone, the annual profit increased to 5.1 billion rupees. According to the information that I have received, they have been able to earn a larger profit this year. Information indicates that the cumulative profit will exceed 11 billion rupees. I do not know whether this is correct, but this is information that I have received from competent persons. All of this is public funding. Who is attempting to prevent any debate on this? The Prime Minister. It is the Prime Minister that acted to appoint the former central bank governor.
Off-market rate.
Bids are made at the off-market rate. For example, if the central bank says it is 10.5% or 11% and the 30-year bonds are issued, then the market rate will be about 10.6%. Bids cannot be made for over 10.6% in that case. It is a punishable offence. So it has been covered up and the father-in-law allowed the son-in-law to steal public funds. They must be arrested immediately so that they can be punished for this crime. The investigation must be carried out. There is no need for concessions. A group including myself battled against the central bank governor and we were victorious in the first round. If fraud has been committed, we will bear responsibility for the second round as well. We will not fall back in any way. On the question of the central bank governor, we were on the side which said that this term should not be extended. The UNP was on the side which said this term must be extended. That is not a secret, is it? In the end, his term was not extended. The subsequent appointment of the former central bank governor as chief advisor of the Prime Minister is a task undertaken by the Prime Minister. If anyone had any suspicion about why the governor was removed without an investigation, these suspicions are confirmed when considering the massive profits earned by his family through perpetual treasuries.
Perpetual treasuries
The Socialist People's Front convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
The FCID and the CID comes under the purview of a UNP minister. A committee is appointed to name individuals against whom legal action needs to be taken. The chairperson of the committee is the Prime Minister. The members are Mangal Samarivira, Patli Shampika, Rauf Hakim, Anukumara Disanayaka, R. Sambandhan, M.A. Sumandiran, Sarath Fonseca, Jayampati Vikramaratne, J.C. Valiamuna and Malik Samaravikrama. They are all politicians. They are directly involved in politics. They are the ones who instruct the FCID to question and investigate certain individuals. So it is a decision made by politicians. Minister Navin Disanayaka overlooks the CID. So this is the current situation in the country.
Minister Vajira Abeyewardene expressed these views during a function held in Galle yesterday.
When I asked a government servant to do something, they respond by saying that they are afraid that they would be summoned before the FCID. Why is there such a stigma? State workers do not need to function according to police ordinances. Take a look at the establishment code and the constitution and work accordingly. Thereby, when a political representative from any party, be it the SLFP, JVP, UNP or an independent group, makes a request, do not say you can't do it. You are there to do what we ask you to do.
මහජන මුදල් අවභාවිතාවෙද්දී අපිට ලොකු දුකක් දැනෙනවා. ඒ ගැන කියන්න වචන නැහැ. ඉතින් හෙන ගහන්න ඕනේ කියන කතන්දරේ තමයි කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. එච්චර ජාතික ධනය අපත යවනවා.
Those were the sentiments expressed by a villager from Rathambala Gama in Thanamal Villa today. These villagers were received a new dawn of hope today with the opening of yet another project undertaken through the Gammadda 100-day initiative.
The people of Rathabalagama received access to clean drinking water today with the opening of the new water scheme by the government, the 100-day initiative with the support of the Sri Lanka Navy. Through this commitment to the public service, they have done the job well and saved money too. Its value cannot be expressed. While they earn millions and billions, we have only now received the opportunity to drink clean water because of the meritorious work of the Sirasa Media Network. The Government the Savi organization in Rathabalagama was also established today, tasked with maintaining the water scheme which will supply water for over 650 families. A tree planting campaign organized to conserve the environment was also held today in line with the opening of the water scheme.
Like we mentioned earlier, shortly after this story was telecast on the primetime news bulletin at 7 p.m. on Sirasa TV, Vasanta Samrasinghe, convener of the Voice Against Corruption movement, contacted Newsfirst and offered this response to the statements made by Minister Vajira Abewardena.
I saw the statement made by Minister Vajira Abewardena on the news on Sirasa TV today. The statement he has made as a government minister regarding the FCID is very serious. We know how this minister intervened to save those involved in the avant-garde incident when serious accusations were being made. We know how he got the former additional secretary of the Ministry of Defence to his ministry and protected her. So we wonder whether Vajira Abewardena, who protected the accused, is speaking out of fear of the FCID. The fact of the matter is clear. These individuals are directly and indirectly influencing institutions of the state, and this must be stopped. If this is not done, then it will transpire that Vajira Abewardena spoke to confirm the opinion that the corrupt are trying to create about these institutions. The army said today that no investigation has been initiated into the alleged suicide of a former intelligence officer who also allegedly wrote a letter claiming responsibility for the 2009 assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge. Now, meanwhile, the police said that no evidence has arisen to the suspect that there was foul play involved in the retired officer's death.
The judicial medical officer has determined that Ilamdarige Edirisinghe Jayamana, the former military intelligence officer, committed suicide by hanging himself. The medical opinion is that there were no internal or external injuries on the body. Jayamana's body was found hanging inside his house in Karadupana, Kegol on Friday. A letter claiming responsibility for the assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge, said to have been written by Jayamana prior to his suicide, was also discovered at the location. The letter also states that a person known as Milinda Udalagama, who is currently in remand custody in the case pertaining to the assassination, is incorrect. However, several disparities arise concerning this letter. Chief among them is the fact that the individual currently in remand custody is named Prem Ananda Udalagama and not Milinda Udalagama. Incidentally, there are certain similarities between Jayamana and a sketch that was released by the police several months ago of a suspect in the assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge. Our attempts to make inquiries from the family of the deceased today were unsuccessful, as his brother, who is also reportedly a military officer, prevented us from doing so.
We went there to make inquiries, but they were not too enthusiastic about this. The police have handed over investigations to the CID, and the hospital says that this was suicide by hanging. What personal motivation did this intelligence officer, who was a father of two, have to shoot and kill Lasantha? He could not have had a personal motive. If he says that he was the one who murdered Lasantha, then it confirms that military intelligence was involved in the assassination. So who issued this order to military intelligence? Who gave the political order to military intelligence? This is what must be uncovered, and those behind it are the ones who should be punished. Some people had to follow orders, and they intervened as a result of following those orders. A group of people have been arrested over the assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge. Another soldier has committed suicide, claiming that he was the one who did it. If it is true, this shows that a mistake has been made on the part of the security forces.
The International Day for the Eradication of Poverty is marked today.
The International Day for the Eradication of Poverty was first marked in 1987 with the participation of over 100,000 people who gathered in Trocadero in Paris. The aim of observing the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty is to present and promote concrete activities with regard to the eradication of poverty and destitution. The International Poverty Index in 2016 identified a staggering 1.6 billion people in the world who live in poverty. UNESCO reiterates in the World Social Science Report 2016 that inequality should not just be understood and tackled in terms of income and wealth. Incidentally, next year has been declared the Year for Poverty Eradication in Sri Lanka. A program to observe the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty took place today with the handing over of houses to several communities. The 11th model village in the Palle Malla area in Hambantota, which is an initiative under the reactivation of the Gammudava concept, was launched today by Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa. Here the minister presented title deeds to 25 families.
The biggest development revolution in the history of the country that will be of immense service to the poor will commence in 2017. This revolution will begin at village level, household level and individual level. It will spread from village to village, street to street and from door to door. This victorious journey to eradicate poverty will be implemented with the strength and leadership of the people.
The recent demise of a Sri Lankan woman who died in suspicious circumstances while working as a domestic worker in Kuwait has reignited the debate over the fate of the thousands of women working in similar conditions in the Middle East. Newsfirst Charlotte Sexton filed this report covering the gamut of the issue.
In 2014, over 11,000 women left Sri Lanka to become domestic workers in the Middle East. Now, this number is not just for Sri Lanka as a whole. This is just one particular region, the Kurunegala region. According to the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment, nearly 500,000 Sri Lankan women are employed as domestic workers in the Middle East. The Bureau says that out of the 110,489 women employed abroad, 88,661 are housemaids. But what factors lead to so many women leaving their families and homes? Women are often driven to take jobs as domestic workers overseas in a desperate attempt to escape extreme poverty and provide for their families. Sri Lankan overseas workers make a huge contribution to the nation's economy. Overseas workers are the largest earners of foreign exchange. Last year, according to the Sri Lankan Central Bank, they sent back a massive 949 billion rupees to their home country, with the majority of this sum coming from Sri Lankan women working as maids. But behind the figures, what sacrifices are made by these women and the children and families they leave behind? With little legal protection, for some women, going to the Middle East to work as a maid has cost them their lives. Recognising the social and human rights issues surrounding Sri Lankan housemaids, the Sri Lankan government, as well as offering a new pension scheme, in June promised to gradually stop sending maids to the Middle East. The Ministry of Foreign Employment also promised to take action to provide support and protection for the families of migrant workers in the Middle East.
When a woman leaves this country, mostly they go as unskilled labour for domestic work. I think my priority is to train them well and look at a market where they will get a higher salary. I'm looking at a possibility of giving them something over 50,000 Sri Lankan rupees as wages per month.
Right.
We have already started English classes in every training center, and also maybe in about a year's time we would say it's compulsory to have that certificate to even to go as a domestic worker.
It's not the first time a country has questioned the human cost of sending women as domestic workers. India and the Philippines has already placed a ban on sending women as domestic workers to the Middle East. The question remains whether with Sri Lanka's continued loss of mothers and daughters each year, should the government of Sri Lanka take similar action? Charlotte Sexton, News First.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News. For the News First team, I'm Sandaru Ferdinando.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Good night and take care.